There is a tiny half-circle notch cut into the top of every carton of milk in Japan, and almost nobody who uses it can tell you it is there. It sits on the back edge, opposite the spout, a small smooth dent in the cardboard, and its entire job is this. If you cannot see if the light is off or if your hands are full and your eyes are somewhere else, you can run a fingertip along the top of that carton, feel the little notch, and know instantly that this one is plain milk and not juice or tea or anything else. Every milk carton in the country carries it, by agreement, so that a blind person standing at a refrigerator can grab the right one without asking a soul. That is the kind of country we are talking about today. A place that noticed a problem so small most of us never even realized it was a problem, and then quietly fixed it for everyone. So here are 10 Japanese inventions that solve problems you did not know you had, and by the end you're going to be a little annoyed that your own country has not copied a single one. Here is why Japan, more than almost anywhere, produces ideas like that little notch. Japanese design tends to obsess over quiet, everyday friction, the small annoyances most of us just shrug at and live with forever. Cities are dense, space is tight, and millions of people share the same trains, streets, and stations every single day. Pack that many people that closely together, add a culture that genuinely cares about not being a burden to the person next to you, and you get a nation of engineers pointed straight at the tiny stuff. Not flashy robots, just thoughtful human fixes for problems hiding in plain sight. Let us count them down. Number 1 is the one we just met, the milk carton notch. It costs nothing. It changes no recipe and slows down no factory. It is simply a shape pressed into packaging so that touch alone can tell you what is inside. And once you know it is there, you start wondering why the rest of the world still makes people guess. Number 2 is the Japanese toilet, and specifically the warm water washing seat that Japan turned into an everyday appliance. In much of Japan, the toilet seat is heated, so you never sit down on cold ceramic on a winter morning. A gentle jet of warm water cleans you at the press of a button, far more thoroughly than paper alone. Some even dry you with warm air afterward. What is remarkable is not that this technology exists, plenty of countries could build it. It is that Japan decided everyone deserved it, and put it in ordinary homes, offices, and public restrooms until it stopped feeling like luxury and started feeling like the baseline. Once you have used one, a plain cold seat feels like a step backward in time. Number 3 lives in that same bathroom, and it is one of the most quietly brilliant devices in the country. In many women's public restrooms in Japan, there is a small box on the wall, and when you wave your hand near it, it plays the sound of running water or a flush. It is called the Sound Princess, and it exists to give people privacy for the noises they would rather mask. Before it existed, many people would flush the toilet again and again just to cover the sound, wasting enormous amounts of water every single day. Someone noticed that hidden waste, understood the very human embarrassment behind it, and solved both at once with a little speaker. Dignity and water saved together from one small box. Number 4 is under your feet, and you have almost certainly walked on a version of it without knowing where it came from. Those bumpy yellow tiles on sidewalks and train platforms, the ones with rows of dots and long bars, were invented in Japan back in the 1960s. The dots warn you that danger is near, the edge of a platform or a street. The bars point the way forward, like a path you can read with your feet or a white cane. A blind person can navigate an entire station using nothing but the texture of the ground. Japan invented that language of bumps and lines, and it worked so well the rest of the world eventually borrowed it. Next time you see those yellow tiles, know that they started as one country's answer to a problem most people never think about. Number 5 is on nearly every dinner table, and it is a masterpiece of everyday engineering. It is the little soy sauce bottle, the classic teardrop-shaped one with the slim red cap. Its spout was designed decades ago so that it pours in a clean, controlled stream and then stops cleanly, without that maddening last drip running down the side and pooling on the table. That anti-drip spout is the whole point. A designer looked at the humble soy sauce bottle, saw the tiny mess it made 100 million times a day, and reshaped it so the mess simply stopped happening. It became so good it is now an icon sitting in design museums, and it still does its quiet job on tables everywhere. Number 6 appears out of nowhere the moment it rains. Walk into a store, an office, or a museum in Japan on a wet day, and you will often find a machine or a rack of thin plastic sleeves right at the entrance. You slide your dripping umbrella into one, and now it will not soak the floor or the person beside you. The problem it solves is invisible until you think about it. The slippery puddles by every doorway, the wet trouser legs, the small daily hazard of a rainy entrance. Japan just decided that puddle did not need to exist and put the fix right where everyone walks in. Number 7 is for the snow, and it is genuinely clever. In the snowier parts of Japan, some roads and sidewalks melt their own snow. Warm water flows through pipes beneath the surface, or sprinklers along the road send up a gentle spray, and the snow simply disappears before it can pile up. No shoveling, no ice, no cars stuck at the bottom of a hill. In towns that get buried every winter, the pavement quietly keeps itself clear. It is a huge idea hiding inside an ordinary-looking street, and most visitors never realize the ground is doing the work for them. Number 8 is how Japan heats a person instead of a whole room. It is a low table called a Kotatsu, with a heater tucked underneath and a thick blanket draped over the edges, and a tabletop laid on top of that. You slide your legs under the blanket and the warmth pools around you while the rest of the room stays cool. Instead of burning energy to heat empty air up to the ceiling, you heat the small pocket of space where people actually are. Families gather around it in winter, warm from the waist down, sharing one cozy island of heat. It is centuries old and still smarter than blasting a furnace at an entire house. Number 9, you would only notice if you looked closely on a Japanese bullet train. When the train reaches the end of the line and turns around for the trip back, the seats do not stay facing backward, they rotate. The whole row spins 180 degrees, so that every passenger faces the direction of travel again. On many trains, a staff member or a simple lever flips the rows in seconds between trips. It solves a small discomfort most of us just accept, riding backward and feeling faintly queasy, or being stuck staring at the person behind you. Japan looked at that and decided the seats should simply turn around. And number 10 is waiting on almost every street corner, glowing in the dark. Japan is famous for its vending machines, but the clever part is what is inside them in winter. The same machine can serve both cold drinks and hot ones. On a freezing night, you can drop in a few coins and out comes a warm can of coffee or tea, hot in your hands, from a machine standing alone on the sidewalk. That warm can in the cold air is a tiny miracle of convenience available at any hour in almost any neighborhood. It is the whole Japanese philosophy in one object. Notice that people are cold and far from anywhere open, and put a warm drink within reach, everywhere, all the time. So step back and look at what all 10 of these really have in common. Not one of them is science fiction. There is no glowing robot, no far-off gadget that only exists in a lab. Every single one is real, ordinary, and already woven into daily life in Japan right now. And that is exactly what makes them so striking. Each one began with someone staring at a small, boring, invisible annoyance. The cold seat, the wasted water, the dripping umbrella, the backward train seat, and deciding that annoyance was worth solving properly. Then they made the fix cheap, quiet, and available to everyone. That is the real lesson here. The magic is not in any one invention. It is in the mindset behind all of them. A whole culture that treats the small problems of everyday life as if they actually matter, and treats good design as something ordinary people deserve, not a luxury for a lucky few. Notice the tiny friction, fix it thoughtfully, then put the fix within arm's reach of everyone. The rest of the world keeps walking right past these same little problems, shrugging, living with the cold seats and the drips and the puddles and the guesswork. Japan just quietly solved them, one small, clever idea at a time. And honestly, these are the ideas most worth borrowing, because none of them require the future to arrive first. They just require someone to care about the small stuff. So the next time some tiny thing in your day annoys you, remember, somewhere in Japan, someone probably already fixed it. If this made you look at the little things a little differently, stick around, because there is a whole country full of ideas like this, and we are only just getting started.